I think I understand where you're coming from and wanting to see more countries, especially nations in the region, take measurable action for Palestinians, right? I get that, but I'm not sure that this exact criticism is really fair, and let me explain. This talks about Qatar, one of the countries at the summit that has for years been involved in humanitarian efforts, in particularly, as it says, the Gaza Strip, and in assisting refugees. Over the years, Qatar has financially supported operations of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East to help Palestinian refugees within and outside Palestine. Since the establishment, the UN agency has been providing basic services and vital needs to more than 5 million Palestinian refugees. And it goes on to talk about how their need has only increased since October 7th. And they also talk about how Israel has unalived many of these agency workers. And when we look at the list of countries that house Palestinian refugees, we see the countries that are that were at the summit on the list, right? Syria, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. So aside from the things that they are doing and are trying to do, even though against the United States and Israel's uneven power in the international sphere, there's also strategic reasons why they're not bringing in massive amounts of refugees. And even Palestinians have talked about this. Why Egypt and other Arab countries are unwilling to take in Palestinian refugees from Gaza. Their refusal is rooted in fear that Israel wants to force a permanent expulsion of Palestinians into their countries and nullify Palestinian demands for statehood. And that's the main point. Displacement has been a major theme of Palestinian history. In the 1948 war around Israel's creation, an estimated 700,000 Palestinians were expelled or fled from what is now Israel. Palestinians refer to the event as the Nakba, or Arabic for catastrophe. And so that's basically essentially what Egypt and other countries are saying, and Palestinians, is that they do not want a second Nakba. This is why so many Palestinians refused to march south. They didn't want to leave their homes and their land because they knew that it would be taken from them and they would not be allowed the right to return, as they are not allowed the right to return for all of these years. There's also the relevant point that what this does as well is pushes the conflict into more nations. It spreads the conflict out further into the region, when in reality it's not all of the countries around that need to be held accountable for what they haven't done. It's Israel that needs to be held accountable for what it is doing.